When the gun went off in Alec Baldwin's hand on the set of Rust in October of 2021, 2 people were shot. Tragically, cinematographer Helena Hutchins died. Director Joel Souza was rushed to the hospital and lived. His memories of that day, and how does he feel about Alec Baldwin today? He joins me, and my good friend, the beloved Teddi Mellencamp, is in studio with me. And there's just a whole lot to talk about. It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. Well, we are live on TuneIn and YouTube. Teddi Mellencamp is here. She's out in the hallway, ready to walk in any minute. She is just delightful, beautiful, and boy, she's going through something, and we love her. We can't wait to welcome her in. Oh, hi, Teddi. There she is with the fellas. You see Steve's bald spot right there? You're standing right behind it. Don't tell him about it. He doesn't think he's balding. Anyway, yeah, we can't wait for that. But I want to get into something that strikes us all. Someone said something important to me years ago, and it was, nobody goes unscathed in this life. I woke up Sunday morning to the devastating news that a wonderful friend who happens to be a surgeon who operates on infants and preemies, he does heart surgery on our most vulnerable little babies, guy named Dr. Dan Levy and his wife Jen, they lost their son Braun in a most horrific way. Braun was perfection at 18 years old, student athlete, an amazing tennis player, varsity tennis in high school for 4 years. He won the league every year. I mean, just an incredible kid, handsome, on his way to the University of Virginia, UVA. He was kind. He was funny. At 12:45 in the morning Sunday, so after a Saturday night out with his friends, he was walking home, and he was hit by a reckless, drunk driver, a woman, in Manhattan Beach, which is just, by the LAX airport. And, this is a family that just lost their house in the Palisades in the LA fires 3 months before, so they were renting in Manhattan Beach. And then this befell them Saturday night. I went to church on Sunday morning and prayed with my pastor, asking what many ask in time: why does this happen? How does this happen? People without faith and belief, or those questioning, and we've all been in positions in certain times in life where we question, if there is a God, then how could he allow this drunk woman, this poor person, and this perfect boy to cross paths in such a violent and fatal way? The best I can gather, it is the gift and curse of free will. We live here on a fallen planet. Earthquakes, wildfires, war, disease. I just talked to Kelsey Grammer just about an hour ago. He's written this book about his sister who died. She was violently taken almost 50 years ago. But the tragedy of this boy, it's less about him and more about the woman. Her name is Jania. She was drunk as a skunk and bombing down a main drag in Manhattan Beach. She chose to get, behind the wheel and drive. In the book of James, it talks about temptation gives birth to desire. Desire gives birth to sin. Sin gives birth to death. And in this case, a senseless and unfathomable extinction of a really beautiful life. So where does our hope lie? Not here on this depraved planet. I think here is our testing ground. Here is where we show ourselves, where we're challenged, where we fail, where we are redeemed. We're not citizens of this planet, this earth. We have a greater home. I mean, how fleeting is this earthly life? Look, whether you live 8 years, 18 years, or 88 years, where we of faith are going, it's all a blip on the radar screen. This boy, Braun Levy, died at 18. He was brilliant, athletic. I told you, tennis captain, standout star, great student, going to UVA. Best of all, is that he was kind, an inclusive kid. He was funny, magnetic. The guy, he brings other kids who maybe aren't as popular in, not one to push people away. All his friends are celebrating his amazing life with this hashtag LLB, Long Live Braun, in photos with stories and pictures. His legacy in 18 years of life gives me full faith that he rests right now at home. It's the rest of us who continue the struggle, and most of all, his unbelievable parents. But this service is going to be on next Saturday. It's coming Saturday, and this can be in the high school gymnasium. There will be no room. I don't think there would be room at Crypto. This kid and his parents, this family, touched so many people, everyone I know. It's just simply devastating, but I know he's at home, and the rest of us have challenges to fulfill. He died in a perfect place. He was perfect. Okay, another piece of news here, this on a personal front for me. That is, I've been on television, linear television forever, minus a 3-year break, thanks to, oh, well, if you know, you know. But I'm leaving my television show, Extra. I've been the host for 5 years. It was a great, I started the show at an amazing time, 2019. I'd been on the bench, unemployed and out of work for 3 years, having been fired off the Today Show. And the executive producer of Extra, a wonderful woman named Lisa G, called me and said, "Hey, is it time to get back in the game?" I said, "Is it time? Of course, I'm ready." And she said, "Listen, we've got a little bit of a problem. NBC is dropping Extra, so we're not on in the major markets, but we've got a lot of stations around the country." I said, "Wait, no Chicago, no New York, no San Fran, no Philly?" And I'd been talking to the head of Fox Stations, who's a friend for a long time. I said, "Well, wait a minute." And together, Lisa and I went over and met with Fox, and we did a deal, and we've been on Fox for the last 5 years. Did a great deal. We for LA and New York and all the major stations, and so the show got picked up, and it got, after 5 weeks, got picked up for another 4 years. A big, in the business they call it a pickup, but it was great. People on the staff could finish the roofing project that they wanted to do and things like that. So anyway, I'm putting out a statement now. I think that it's being released maybe by Warner Brothers, but I'll read it to you here first. After an amazing 5 years hosting Extra, I'm moving on to continue building out my Hot Mics digital platform. We've experienced unprecedented growth in a short period of time here on this show, and I find myself hungrier and more stimulated than at any point in my professional career. Extra is culturally iconic. If I had $1 for every time someone hollered, "Extra, extra," to me in the airport or something, I'd buy Warner Brothers. It's been a tremendous honor and privilege to front this show. We were there for each other, I told you, at this pivotal time in 2019. I'm proud of it. It's now time to build something of my own. I'm forever grateful to the amazing staff at Extra and the executives at Warner Brothers for this awesome chapter of my life. I mean every word of that. And I have had a tremendous run. Whew. What a day, huh? Not to mention my dad died 4 years ago, but that's not a sad story. What a life he lived. He died 25 minutes before his 90th birthday. We had a martini toast 4 hours before he went. And I'll tell you this about, if you're ever with somebody in a room where they, especially an old person, and they leave, it's amazing. You can feel the energy escape. I felt his spirit leave the room, and there before me was this shell. So there is afterlife. And Dad was 89. The boy I told you about, Braun, 18. But I guarantee you that bulging spirit that he had is right there in the ultimate home. I hope we all pass every test and every challenge that's coming our way, and we end up where Dad and Braun are. Okay. It is my great pleasure to welcome in studio the lovely and great Teddi Mellencamp. Teddi, Come on in and take a seat. You look so beautiful, relaxed. You've had a busy day. You got a couple tears in my eyes here. Excuse me. You come on crazy.
I know. Well, I got a couple tears in my eyes, and I was like, now I can't even. Is now a good time for me to say that I'm taking over your Spotted Extra?
I knew it. Those snakes.
No. Oh my gosh. Honestly, so much love to your family, friends, and also I can't even imagine. Like, that made me emotional just listening to it, but also the change in your life right now. It's a huge, amazing thing that you're doing, but also I know how you must feel right now.
Teddi, I mean, I've wanted to do it I've wanted to launch my own platform for like the longest time. You know what kept me from doing it? Fear.
Yeah.
Fear. Don't we all have that negative voice in there? What if no one listens? What if no one watches? What if
if I'm not good enough?
What if I'm not good enough at it? We all have that in our lives. And that thing ate me alive. After being fired from the Today Show years ago, I mean, I was just like a shell of a man. And it took me so long to get, the confidence going again. I've always wanted to do it. Now's the right time. Extra's going, doing its thing, and it's sort of self-sustaining. And this, we started in January, is just working. Yeah. It's working and it's great. It's fun.
It's great and it's fun. And I can always say from years of doing interviews with you where you've interviewed me, it's always been one of my favorites because you make it fun, you make it interesting, and you always throw something out there that gives us a little different, click at the end. And I appreciate that.
Watch out for him. Here he comes.
I'm like, oh no, it's Billy Bush, but also, I'm excited for Billy Bush.
What has your day been like? Have you been doing some treatments today?
So I have treatments tomorrow. Today I woke up feeling a little yucky, but then I went and I was like, that fear moment. But then you kind of go, I gotta get up, I gotta go to work. And Erica Jane came over and we filmed 2 podcasts for Diamonds in the Rough, and then I came right over to you.
Oh man, you have so many people. I mean, look, you're in a if you're. If you don't know, which I think most people do, Teddi Mellencamp is, she had stage 4 melanoma, and that led to brain tumors, and then it went into the lungs, and you have fought it at every turn, and with great success. You got some great results last Wednesday. Things are shrinking, right?
Things are shrinking. I mean, the wild part was I had stage 2 melanoma on my back, and then all of the other melanomas that I had stayed under stage 2, and then a year went by and I had these like migraine headaches, and then I finally went into the emergency room and they found multiple brain tumors and tumors in my lungs, and they were all stage 4, and which pretty much nobody really wanted to say it, but it was like, it's not looking good for you, kid. And then my last appointment they said your tumors are shrinking.
And before that, someone had told you 50-50, right?
Yeah, and then it went down to 30% chance.
30% chance. So when you're sitting there, you're as a human being told it's 30%, a lot of people would just crumble. Like, give me Xanax now. I can't deal. But what happened with you?
I went the complete opposite. I asked my doctor, I'm like, is there anything I can't do? Like, can I ride horses? Can I go with my kids to concerts? Can I do everything? And he's like, live your life to the fullest that you can to your ability. If you feel tired, rest. And that's what I did. And I swear it gave me so much life. I went back to riding horses. I have been pretty active with the kids, and I've also been very open with them, like, hey guys, I'm a little bit tired right now, and don't take it personally, but I'm going to take a little nap. It's not because I don't love you, it's because I'm tired. And I was always that person before that felt frightened to let people down, but now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to live life and do the best that I can, and hopefully that's good enough.
Your daughters handle things pretty well. You told me a little story about your son, Cruz, who's 12, right?
Oh, he's 10 years old, and he told me that we were going to share a LaCroix, and then he goes, I'm not sharing with you. You're contagious. And I was like, who told you that, bud? And he's like, well, I don't know, but I don't want any of that. And I was like, okay. But my daughters handle it a lot better, except for my youngest, Dove. She now has all the same things. Like, she's like, should I shave my head? Should I do that? And I'm like, no, Dove. The only reason my head's shaved is because there's bald spots all over it. So it just, looks a touch better.
So who gave you the wig that is like exactly what your hair is? I mean, you look like the Teddi Mellencamp that always comes into the studio. That thing, I mean,
wig
can you
fairies,
put that on Howie Mandel, by the way? Howie is as bald as they get.
He tried to steal it earlier when I first walked in.
There's Howie. Oh, by the way, don't you, I've listened to your podcast.
I have some bones to pick with.
You have major beef with Howie, don't you?
Oh, I do.
Step to the mic, Mandel. Let's get this out of the way.
Because, you know, on Two T's in a Pod, we recap Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, all of those Bravo shows. And I don't think you really did your research on Sandoval. Scandoval.
Get close to that microphone, Howie. You're a professional.
Zero research. Zero research. That's my niche. And you killed me for that.
Well, of course I killed you for that, because I walked into this. If I would have known when I walked into the studio that there is all kinds of things that does the research for you, all you needed was like a 10-second AI clip to tell you what was going on.
Ignorance is bliss, and that's what I live by. That was one of the most blissful interviews I had ever done in my life. But you killed me for it, young lady.
But I actually, I don't want to abandon you. You've been so supportive of me. I think I texted Howie and it was like, I love that interview, Howie. I love the fact that Howie Mandel didn't know shit when he was talking about the Sandoval and this, and he's got Tom sitting right in front of him and he's like, so when you sometimes, it's like how Larry King, bless his heart, was great, but he didn't prepare.
I think it was great that he didn't prepare, but I would have, if I was doing the interview, Howie, I would have grilled him on some things that you may have let slip.
No.
Slide.
Can I just say one more time? I don't care what I let slip. My one question, and still is, why does a man on a reality show cheating on his girlfriend end up in headlines on national news? That was my question.
It was a slow month.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now he's become likable again. It's just wild how this happens.
You know, that is national news. I remember when I was a great executive from NBC cable, one of the top cable executives, said to me, she was like, you know, someday you should do the Today Show. This was many, many years before. I said, oh gosh, they're going to tell me I'm not a hard news person, and you know, the Access Hollywood guy can't do it because you know, they want hard news. She goes, there's nothing hard news about the Today Show. Please, they're all covering the same stories that Access Hollywood and Extra and Entertainment Tonight are covering. Sandoval was global. I mean, they know him in Beijing right now.
Everybody knows Sandoval, and everybody has a different opinion, but that's what makes it fun. Howie just didn't have any opinions on anything regarding Sandoval because he didn't know who he was.
You know what a woman who's battling cancer is allowed to do? Bitch slap anybody she wants. Tell them how it is. Tell them the truth. Mandel, you have been handled.
I have. That's bald on bald.
Bald on bald. Well, he also gave me a lecture on how I need to properly shave my head, and I said that, you know what, I'll take my wig off when I leave here, and then you can teach me.
And one last thing, your producer here, Steve, the last time I was on camera, it went back to your conversation, and then he goes, you have something on your lip. He goes, I didn't want to tell you on camera.
I was about to tell you because I saw it.
Tell me?
My vision is even good, and I was like, uh-oh, he's got a lip like a pretzel, or maybe it was a nut.
And you're able
chunk.
to identify a pretzel. But Steve
Howie,
here,
I always told you, stay up on your Valtrex prescription. You have to stay up with Valtrex. You can't let a couple days go by.
Oh my God!
It's not like a statin where you can miss a day. Okay? Starts to regrow. All right, Teddy. Look, here's the thing. You're rocking. We're in here. We're going to do some hot mics, hot takes. Steve, can we just roll right into it, or do you want to take a break for people who want to pay bills? Okay, somehow we got people who want to pay bills. It's incredible.
Great, right. Love that.
Teddy, Prince Harry. Okay, Prince Harry has lost his appeal in a long-running legal battle over his security arrangements when he visits the UK. The Court of Appeal dismissed his challenge to a decision that downgraded his official security detail. Harry had argued that the downgraded security was unlawful, unfair. It put his family at risk whenever they visit the UK. He spoke to the BBC News about this and what it means for his family. Take a listen to this.
It's really quite sad that I won't be able to show, my children my homeland. There is a lot of control and ability in my father's hands. Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved through him. of course, some members of my family will never forgive me for writing a book. Of course, they will never forgive me for lots of things. But, you know, there is. I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. You know, he won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
There's so much here.
There's so much here. But I have a question. Montecito is a pretty affluent place. Do you think that he could afford his own security?
When he gets to, this is, well, he pays for his own security here. That's
what I'm saying. He's already paying for it. Why not just pay for it to go see his family?
Well, the government decided, at the behest of Charles, no doubt, to assess his security on a case-by-case basis, right?
Right.
It's not eradicated. It's just when you come, we'll decide. You don't instantly get what you had because William has to go to the opening of a hospital wing, to the Miss Potato Festival up in Manchester, you know, the rubber ducky floating race. That's all these people do. He has a massive security team. But I believe, Harry, I don't think it's an accoutrement that he's looking for. I mean, there's people who hate his wife. And when he goes, like, especially, he's worried about Meghan, really. So, Well,
I mean, I understand his point. I also think the worst way to try to have reconciliation with your family is to publicly talk about it.
Yeah, write a book. I mean, listen, your reconciliation might have gone a little better before you wrote the book, Spare. And by the way, your wife is sitting with Oprah was saying there's racism at the highest levels of the royal family.
And then I think she had a podcast, too.
Yes. Well, the first one got canceled, and now
she's on to number 2.
She forgot to do the first one. Now she got another huge deal. She forgot to book people and what is it, Tuesdays?
Hold on, am I supposed to listen?
Did I get $100 million for this or something? I mean, do you have issue with them? A lot of people think they're grifters. You know what I mean? Like, you're just coming in here, you're getting the massive Netflix deal, the Spotify deal, and now as ever, she's launching this, that, and the next thing. But a lot of people are just kind of giving them money, or do you think they're I think they're interesting.
I think she calls the shots.
Yeah.
I think she 100% calls the shots. I think she wants to make sure that she's all set up no matter where this goes, because we all know his past and we all know what's happened, and she's got herself all lined up for when shit hits the fan.
Do you think she says it? I didn't even know he was a prince. I didn't even know. Come on, girl.
Come on. Listen, even with my 10 brain tumors, I knew he was a prince. I can't. Yes.
I miss old Harry.
And he's a recognizable person regardless. You know, like, some people could kind of oh, is that person? Like, you look at him and you're like, yep, that's him.
Even as the hairs slowly disappear from his head, like his brother is just,
Hold on, but no, I think that's a plug up there. I mean, we should ask.
Is Harry going to Turkey for a lot of the Hollywood men go to
Maybe
Turkey
I should share my wigs with him and Howie.
Howie, I think the reason why Howie Mandel is bald is because he had such a bad perm in the 80s that he just burned every bit of his scalp, and there's no chance he could grow it again.
I saw he had, but it wasn't just that. He had a little bit of a mullet.
Oh, Howie. Oh, God. The hairstyles of Howie Mandel, there should be
That's another series.
A museum for it. Okay, there is, in a similar vein, Victoria Beckham versus Nicola Peltz. Have you seen any of this stuff going on? Victoria's daughter-in-law, Nicola, when Nicola and Brooklyn Beckham got married, the Peltz family, just very wealthy activist, investor, big, huge, lots and lots of money. But, the Beckhams are rich too. Mom was like, you wear my brand. Like, you'll wear a Victoria Beckham wedding gown. And she's like, no, I'm wearing a house of couture. This is my wedding, and we have endless money. We can afford a $200,000 Valentino. I'm not wearing... Yeah. No shade, but Victoria Beckham is a beautiful brand. It's not a house. Stella McCartney is an amazing brand. It's not a house of couture. So I think that's where the beef began. Family member says, Victoria has a lot to deal with here. reports are that Brooklyn and Nicola, went to London to see David for his 50th birthday party, and they were turned down. I can tell you this. I know that's not true. I spoke to a family member.
I heard that isn't true either.
I spoke to a family member. They're in a modeling campaign. They had a job there that they're doing together. Maybe the same thing as like Patrick Schwarzenegger and his girl are doing.
But I also think like your wedding dress is the one time, like if somebody wants me to wear like any other clothing, but your wedding day is kind of sacred. It's like when your mother-in-law wears white to your wedding.
Yeah, I think it's cheesy. You're going to wear your mother-in-law's. You're so easy.
No,
look at her suck up to Victoria.
Any other time she should wear Victoria. I mean, listen, Victoria Beckham, if I get married again, send me a dress. I'll happily wear it.
For sure.
And I'll do every bit of press about it.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said. I don't know that I fully buy into this whole story.
Oh, there's definite beef.
There's definite beef, but I don't think it's beef solely about a wedding dress. I think it
began there. Yes, the mom, Nicola's got an opinion. She's strong-headed, and Victoria's,
And when you involve multiple strong type A, I'm controlling, so I can recognize it in others, slightly controlling women, you're going to get that kind of friction.
Oh, yeah.
And especially with when your little boy's involved.
You've had what if I say, your mother-in-law, is she, for a long time, she good?
She's good. She's good. I don't know, talk to her in a minute, but I think she's pretty good.
She's good. She's good.
Never met her.
My father-in-law was an animal. He was like, he and I were great. Mother-in-law, lovely, didn't care about me. Didn't even see me in the room. But yeah, because she loved her daughter so much, which was fine by me.
Yeah.
It gave me some little freedom. They would take care of the two of them, would go with the girls and do everything. I was free when she came to town.
Oh.
She's like, please, you go out with your boys. You don't need to be here. So I loved it when she came to town. And her father, my wife of 20 years, ex-wife now, he was an animal. We would go out. This guy was a party machine. He had $2 bills with his name and cell phone stamped on the $2 bills.
I never got one.
Oh, believe me, if he saw you, he had the same line. He'd walk up to a pretty girl and he'd go, hey, baby. He was a big Mississippi boy. Say, hey, baby, come on over here. Teddy, I like that name, Teddy. Let me see your hand, Teddy. He'd take out a $2 bill with it. He said, Teddy, now this here's for a half gallon of gas and a phone call. You get in trouble, you call. You want to get in trouble, you call. And women would this guy was, I miss him. He was fun.
It was a thing.
It was a thing.
I mean, my grandpa may or may not be a touch like that. Richard, shout out to you.
He liked the ladies?
My grandmother passed away a long time ago, and he's just Mr. Cool Guy. He essentially looks like the Cougs, but just add on 20 years. And he's just like, he's always like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, yep. No.
When grandma died, Teddy, people grieve in different ways.
I mean, it wasn't straight away. He waited a bit, but now it's like I see him and I'm like, I see like the girls falling behind him. I'm like, hey, I know what you're doing.
Cialis, Viagra, the worst invention ever for women.
What do you think works better? I heard you're using them.
Just to explore one time, maybe. People say the Cialis is your weekend partner. It's with you for the weekend. The Viagra
it is?
Oh, God help. You're
do you know straight away?
Do I know straight away?
Yeah, like, do you know straight away?
It's a slow burn, Ted.
It's a slow
burn. How deep are we going here?
Burn. I don't know. I don't take them.
Now, I just sampled
I'm on every
it
other
one
medication.
time just to know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sometimes I just wear it. I take one just to walk around the locker room, just to impress you. Now,
he's
you women dress
at Hot 8. He's wearing. He's taking
I just want to impress the guys as I'm coming out of the shower, or at least not be shamed. Okay, hot mics, hot takes. Teddi Mellencamp is in studio with us, my great neighbor and friend. Aaron Rodgers wearing a ring at the Kentucky Derby. There it is. Now, if we get in on that thing, it looks to me like it might be an Aura ring.
I thought so too. Plus, I recently watched his documentary where he's doing all of his like healing and all of those different things. He didn't seem to be in a place where he was going to be getting married again, unless he's back with one of his exes. That's my theory. But it looked like your middle ring finger.
Yeah.
And that's an Aura ring, right?
I have a skinny finger, so it should be on the,
They say you're supposed to wear it on your pointer.
Yeah. It doesn't fit on my pointer. I got to get a smaller one. I mean, if I put it on I guess it does.
Yeah, pointers.
I should wear it here instead? This is better?
That's where I think so. I may have made that up, and I'm really glad I'm showing my hands.
I don't know. I never checked the app. I don't know why I even wear one at all.
You never check the app.
I never
so you're
checked
just
to see,
wearing
like,
it
how
to
did
be
I
hip?
sleep? How did I feel like it'd be obsessive about it? Like,
Are you going to start saying Riz now too? You're just going to do.
yeah. How's the Riz? You feeling the Riz right now? You have so much Riz, I can't believe it.
I have no Riz, but my daughter calls me the Rizzler.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have so much Riz.
Yeah, so much Riz.
You do.
She's my child. I like pay for her life, so she's like gotta give me some props.
These kids got some. I love they seem all very big personalities in their own way. So my contact at Amazon tells me that the Blake Lively film, Another Simple Favor, did okay. I didn't know if the Baldoni Lively, situation was going to hurt the movie. Came out this past weekend, not huge, didn't do giant business, but solid. So, question for the chat, question for Teddi. Do you think all this negative press around her kind of nudges people on the fence towards seeing her film? Is it helpful in some way?
Well, I think it's helpful. People want to tune in because they want to see what outfit choices she made because she's also the costume designer.
Yeah, her sometimes a total chaos, right? The fashion. I'm a fashion hound myself. Tonight, the Met Gala. Shout out. Will they be there? That's another big.
I
thing.
heard they got disinvited.
Disinvited.
I heard they didn't get invited. And then there's all these memes about the different dresses, and it was supposed to go to somebody else, and then she wanted it, and who knows? It's all probably
the guest list goes through Anna Wintour. So if you're Anna Wintour, is that a bad thing to have Blake and Ryan there? I mean, think of all the attention. Think of
But remember one year she didn't have wasn't it like the Kardashians she didn't have there one year?
Yep. No, she's not afraid to lay it down.
I don't think she's afraid to make cuts if she thinks it's going to be controversial at the moment.
But now she's super tight with the Kardashians. I don't look. My feeling on Blake Lively, she's just going to appear her way. Her strategy now is to appear, make appearances, sign autographs, do these staged events, and just hope people drop it.
Well, I need to know one thing for certain. Did she make up when her children's birthday was? Did you hear about this story?
No, tell me.
She said that her kids were born on the same day as like Napoleon and somebody else. I don't remember. And I think that day is, I'm going to say this wrong, guys, because I can't remember dates, but she said it was August 13th. I'm just saying that. But however, then people researched and none of her kids were born on August 13th.
Yeah.
So is this true?
Well, the one thing is, don't try and put anything that's remotely possibly not true. The sleuths that are out there,
they're going to find out, but someone let me know, please.
Okay. Somebody Google Napoleon Bonaparte's birthday. Poor woman.
But why just make up stuff to make up stuff?
She's screwed. I'm going to tell you this right now. She is screwed.
How much do you think she makes a movie?
I don't know. It depends. Probably $4 million. I don't know.
Well, so
3.
I mean, I
Not
just
Ryan.
feel like, and also now Taylor Swift. What's the football player?
Travis Kelce gives the unfollow to Ryan.
But they also didn't go. They weren't invited to the birthday party of the
Blake
supermodel. So Travis Kelce was there, Taylor Swift was there, but guess who wasn't there? Blake Lively and
Ryan Reynolds.
And Ryan Reynolds.
It's just become clear to me, like the biggest thing that's coming down, the one thing that Blake has, if this thing gets to trial, is she has said there are 2 other women who filed sexual harassment complaints. And we believe those 2 women would have to be Jenny Slate, the co-star, and the girl who played the younger version of Blake's character, Lily, Isabel Ferrer. And Sony says there are no other complaints. We didn't receive them. Now, I know for a fact that the Wayfarer guys, Baldoni and Heath, who are in this lawsuit, Justin and his partner, Jamie Heath, they got her, this Jenny Slate, she had an Airbnb while they were filming. And she was like, it's dangerous. My child can fall out the window. It's a dangerous window here. I have a 3-year-old. I cannot. I'm so scared to be in this place. And they said, oh, my God, you're a mother with that on your mind. We are going to. And they rent her own new place for $17,000 a month. And Wayfarer picks it up. I've seen communications. And I'm telling you, that is nothing but love and thank you. This woman is not coming forward with any type of sexual harassment complaint. Blake better find 2 other people who are going to say these 2 men did something.
Because also she's out and about everywhere right now. And isn't Justin Baldoni just like hanging out
in Hawaii?
In Hawaii, not doing any press. We're not seeing him. He's totally taken a low profile version of it. And I think that also is kind of telling too.
I think she's running.
I think if I was, I don't know.
She's running her own show, and I got to tell you,
who do you think's running the show though, her or Ryan Reynolds?
She hopes people forget about it, and then they quietly settle. But I just don't think that these mommy sleuths and these daddy sleuths and these whatever sleuth, all these people out there, no one's going to let her off the hook. They're watching everything. Every day there's news, and it won't let up.
Well, have you ever watched any of Daily Dose of Donna?
Yes, I've had her in here.
Oh my gosh! Well,
my neighbor, she lives in Sherman Oaks.
Yes,
Donna. We love Donna.
Well, she is doing like daily little updates on Blake Lively, and I go down the rabbit hole every night. And I'm like, I have a lot of things to do, but I still need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, Donna comes in with the groceries. She puts down from the counter. She's like, okay, guys, now we got to really get
Hold
into
on,
it
I got to tell you. First, let me tell you about the figs.
We love her. We've had her here, and her son running around the control room.
And she helped me today because I was like, you know what? I might be behind on some things. Help, please. And she's like, yep, got you.
Ah, cute. Finally, Sydney Sweeney on the loose. I mean, men are obsessed with Sydney Sweeney. Look at this top.
She's hot.
She's super hot. Broke off the engagement with Jonathan Davino. Rumors of hooking up with Glenn Powell. They went to his sister's wedding. They were there together. He says just friends, which of course invites the when Harry met Sally question. Can men and women just be friends like you and me, Ted?
Well, I would say we can be friendly.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being friends and being friendly.
Yeah, there's no late night. So, like, how was your day?
I'm not like,
okay?
hey, Billy, oh my gosh,
this
is such a bummer. Can you come over and console me?
And how did that make you feel?
No. But also, they're saying that
true.
she was with Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
But then Machine Gun Kelly was with Megan Fox yesterday doing something or other.
You know.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not the paparazzi.
Putting that together.
I just thought...
My question about Sydney Sweeney is, I mean, she blew up kind of on White Lotus season 1, but what is it about her that men find so intoxicating?
I think she's funny and doesn't take herself too seriously, but she was also on Euphoria. Did you watch that?
Oh.
I mean, that was a hot show, and she is a vixen in that show. And you can do that. I cannot.
I don't know.
Well, you can't do that.
I can't.
Neither of us can do that.
No.
But either way, I think she's very good looking. I think she's funny. And I don't think she takes, by listening to her interviews, she doesn't take herself too seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think she's with any of these dudes. I think she's playing the field.
Oh, okay. Well, she should. And by the way, that's, Instagram followers go up with that. Teddy, anything else on your mind before we move on? We're going to Joel Souza. You know Joel Souza? You followed the whole Rust thing, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So
we can move on to that.
Joel Souza, the director of Rust. Rust came out this weekend, finally, after 3.5 years, and the terrible accident on set. Alec Baldwin fires the gun. It kills the cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. It goes through her body and takes out Joel Souza, the director of the film, who's standing behind her because there's a dolly camera, and he's behind her. She literally is like was a protector for him. Joel Souza, I mean, it's been 3.5 years of just so much pain and strife and lawsuits, and the armorer, the young woman who was the armorer and supposed to check the guns for fake bullets, she is in jail. She's sentenced to 18 months. And now, Alec Baldwin, they was going to trial. They threw that out. So he, goes off. Anyway, they finally put this movie out. I saw it on Thursday night. I thought it was a pretty darn good Western. And Joel Souza has talked to a newspaper or two, but he hasn't done anything in a sit-down interview. And so I got a chance to sit down with Joel, and we're going to take a quick little break here, and then we'll come back to that. But it's an amazing story.
Yeah. Well, now it makes sense why Hilaria Baldwin's coming on the pod tomorrow with us.
You have Hilaria?
Yes.
Okay. I love the show.
What should I ask her?
Oh, I'm gonna load you up. But have you watched the reality show with Alec? It's hysterical. People give it. People are so mean. I think Alec is.
How many kids would you have?
Would I have?
Yeah.
I have 3, and I got a vasectomy immediately after the 3rd.
Would you ever reverse it?
Would I reverse the vasectomy? No way. Bill Belichick, no, he's going to have to, if they have a kid, I'm going to lose it. You can't, that's going to make, Tony Randall from The Odd Couple was the older. He had a baby at 80. Belichick has one at 73. This is,
I can't.
we don't have time for those two. Teddy, I love you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to take a quick break here, hear from our beautiful sponsor, and then we're going to welcome the director of Rust and survivor of that terrible incident, Joel Souza. Back in 30.
Welcome to LA Golf. You guys ready for the tour? We're the only golf company that manufactures its clubs here in the United States. All LA Golf drivers are built right here.
I'm very excited for today's production. It's going to be
4 left. Anybody hungry?
So does he like work here?
Work here? He lives here.
Welcome back to Hot Mics. So last Thursday, I interviewed Joel Souza after I went to a family cast and crew screening not far from my house to see Rust. We'd heard so much about it. We heard about the drama, of course. You know, a gun goes off in Alec Baldwin's hand. He says he didn't pull the trigger. It just went off. There was live ammunition on the set. Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer and mother and wife, an amazing photographer. She died. Joel Souza is the other person that took the bullet. He was really close with her. He hasn't done an interview. I had so many questions. How does he feel about Alec now? Do they talk? How they met? You know, what happened that day? What went on in the hospital? It's all in this interview. So with no further ado, let's get to Joel Souza, director of Rust. Welcome, Joel Souza.
Thanks very much for having me.
Director of Rust. How do you feel at this moment with this movie that so many people know only one thing about, and here it is?
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I find myself sort of getting up this morning not quite knowing how to feel, to be perfectly honest. There's a sense of accomplishment. There's a sense of relief. There's a sense of uncertainty that sort of comes with any movie that comes out, right? You hope people like it. You hope they take something from it. You hope it means something to them. But, you know, I'm not going to pretend that this was a normal situation. It wasn't. And so, yeah, it's, I don't know, I'm either about to go over the waterfall or I've already gone down the waterfall. Yeah. I don't quite know. I don't quite know yet, you know.
Well, you made some nice comments to the audience last night before the film began. You told everyone, you know, you invoked Helena Hutchins' name, and I hope that you all like this, and I hope you see her in it. Basically, that's what I got from it. What did it feel like to just address that audience of cast and crew and family?
You know, I always feel like I'm going to be good at it until someone hands me the microphone, and then I can hear myself breathing on a speaker. It's like, oh boy, here we go. Man. But no, I think, you know, somebody much wiser than me once said that, you know, praise and gratitude don't cost you a dime, you know, and it's, and I think you want people to know what they meant to you and how grateful you are that, in this case in particular, you know, the folks that came to Montana and the people that came back from the original crew and the new people that came in, you know, they did that with a lot of opinions in their ears from a lot of people they knew and from the world at large, and they still did it because it was important to them, because they felt touched by what happened to Helena. They were touched by the story, and it was important to everybody. I think everybody had their own reasons, but she was the common reason among everyone. And so, yeah, you know, I was, you know, when we were shooting that, in general, I like a nice sort of calm, quiet set. We all aspire, at least I don't know if we all do. Some people like to work in the hurricane. I don't. I aspire to that Clint Eastwood set where it's a nice sort of family environment. You've known each other forever. You work sort of smoothly and respectfully, and it's not a place where there's sort of, you don't want the enfant terrible sort of, you know, personality there. But I was emotionally much more raw than I thought I would be. I sort of went in there feeling like I felt like I had this burden of everybody's emotional well-being that I was going to be responsible for. And what I realized is
This
that
in the beginning of the movie, during, or is this when you returned?
this is
to
when we
filming?
returned to Montana,
In
and I just
Montana.
felt like, you know, people were going to be very raw, and I just wanted to sort of, you know, create an environment where everyone felt supported and comfortable saying what they were feeling and things like that. And we had that, but in the end of the day, it turned out that that's what the crew created, and they created that for me. And, you know, I felt very emotionally uneven through a lot of that time, and they really carried me, you know, from the grips to the PAs to everybody, you know, like.
And did most of the same people that shot the first part of the movie in New Mexico do the pickup when you returned to filming?
I wouldn't say most. We had a good number. It's, you know, we were in a different state, so that is sort of in practical reasons. That means you're going to have some different crew members. But we did invite people who wanted to come back, and we were fortunate enough to have a lot of people come back. And so I know that was very, you know, I'm sure there was sort of a moment when you step onto the set that day that's sort of a big, deep breath moment for people. But what we ended up with was a really sort of caring environment. I don't want to, you know, too Pollyanna about it. It's, you know, making movies is hardball. But we had a really nice environment, and that's in very large part due to the people that were there last night. And I just wanted to tell them that.
You said something interesting. I read. You said this experience, and of course losing your cinematographer Helena Hutchins in that horrible accident. This experience has changed you. You said the person I was went away.
Yeah.
That was a while back. Has much of you returned, or are you still just a completely different person than set out to film this movie?
I think I'm maybe just used to it at this point. And I think, you know, people that know me, that have known me for a long time, maybe wouldn't see it quite so much. It was strange. Sort of, yeah, looking in the mirror that next day and just kind of, and then for a long period after that, a long time after that, I'd sort of get up in the mornings and go, well, it's time to pretend to be Joel Souza again. And eventually I just sort of settled into that new normal. And it's not that I was, you know, suddenly left-handed and this and that, and not in a functional way. It's very hard to explain. It's just like with a lot of people that I'd known for a long time, it felt like I still knew them, but they didn't know me anymore. It was weird, and it for someone who sort of, you know, uses verbs and adjectives for a living, it was strange to not be able to find the right ones to describe it. It still is.
You said you burned through a few therapists, like it just didn't work for you.
Yeah, I wish it did.
Yeah,
you know,
sure. Fix me. I'll take it. You know, please.
And that's my problem, right? I'll go and I'll have 7 sessions, and by the end of 7, I've said everything I got.
Yeah.
I'm long-winded in the first place. So I'm like, for 7 things, I'm just like, you know, chapter and verse, everything. And at a certain point I go, all right, that's all I got. Fix it.
Now, yeah, well, what we all want is the answer, not, you know, another 3 years of the same conversation.
And it doesn't, you know, that doesn't work. And it's, and I felt like, am I just not good at it? But it's also really not my responsibility to be good at it. And not that these were...
Well, maybe you're just put together well enough and you don't realize it that you can actually, you're going to be okay.
I think that is open to debate.
But,
you know, and so I tried a bunch of things. I remember there was a very specific kind of sort of post-traumatic therapy that I did early on that they sort of do for, you know, firefighters and police and people like that. And I did find that helpful, but that's very specific to that. And so beyond that, you know, going and talking through everything and sort of pouring out everything from what happened on Russ, daddy issues, this, that, it's just like, and I would, you know, then I'd say, well, I'll take a break from it and try somebody else and see if they've got the sort of magic password here. And I, you know, I envy people for whom it works. And maybe there's just something in my brain that won't allow me to be as open to it as I'd like. And it's not that I found it awful while I was doing it. Talking things out is nice. But at a certain point, it just started to feel like, you know, on a stationary bicycle and going nowhere with it. So,
We're talking to Joel Souza, the director of Rust, which stars Alec Baldwin. And of course, they went through unimaginable tragedy in the filming in October of 2021 in New Mexico. Movie is out right now in theaters. And then, of course, we'll be able to see it on demand as it goes. Alec Baldwin was not there last night. Would he have been welcome?
Oh, I don't know if it ever would have. I mean, look, he's on the East Coast. This was out on the West Coast. I don't know if that was ever anything that would make sense. You know, I think.
Has he been forgiven, or was he ever even to other people who were like, it was him, it's his fault?
Oh, I wouldn't want to speak for other people on that, to be honest. I don't, it's such a, this is such uncharted territory for everybody involved. Mm-hmm. And everyone has sort of had to try to find their way through it. And I, try and frequently fail to be a better person and to be compassionate to everyone involved and things like that. And then, at the end of the day, what I hope is just that everyone can somehow come out on the other side of this okay. Sometimes it feels very, in one way, trite discussing the movie aspect of it and the premieres and things like that to me, because there's such larger issues at stake. But but the movie itself is this, tribute to a good friend and a talented friend who lost her life, and in benefit of the family who lost, a mother, a wife, a daughter, friend, confidant, and I just, I don't know what the right thing to do would have been on that front for him to have been there or not. I guess
if he walked in, would you have said, "Hey"?
Oh, I don't know about that. Like I said, everyone's been through a very tough experience on that one. And, I would hope that I could, channel my, the better angel of my nature or my grandfather and be the kind of person who can be open to being kind to everyone and being generous to everyone. I think I'm a work in progress on that, I hope, anyway.
Does it feel like, because he's got the reality show and all the kids and the thing, that maybe he's moved on easier? And because I see you right now as a person that is having a hard time moving on.
Oh, I don't know. I doubt that. I would, when we're talking about moving on, that's talking about sort of, emotional and psychological aspects of someone. And I would never feel comfortable talking about somebody else's progress on that front for myself.
Do you still hear the same things? Is there something that keeps popping into your own head that you just wish would go the hell away?
Not really. There's been a few sort of benchmarks with with everything for the last almost 4 years now. I remember when trials have ended and cases were dismissed and things like that, and the movie coming out. And I think sometimes in life, you never recognize a crossroads when you're standing at it. You only recognize in hindsight whether you took the right direction or not. But I do feel like, in a way, I have this benefit of sort of understanding that I've been at a crossroads in a very specific way, in that everything that happened can consume me for the rest of my life.
Right.
Or I can go forward, and it's not about moving on from it. It's about moving on with it and learning how to put that in its place, keep that in its place, and know that it's changed me and reformed me a little bit in a new sort of direction. But and knowing that I'm never gonna. On the day that when I'm laying on my deathbed, it'll be on my mind.
Yeah.
And to me, you can say, well, that makes you a prisoner of it, but I don't think so. If you control it and can compartmentalize it enough, I think then it sort of empowers you over it, and it just is. It's part of who I am. You know, I'm not going to run from that.
I did an interview recently. I was on your side of the interview, and I talked about a major experience I went through, and I said, look, forgiveness, is for the forgiver. One of the people who wronged me on paper is actually my producer now, once again.
Yeah.
We reunited. I forgave but I said, I do reserve a little negative energy for the former chairman of NBC News. And I just laugh, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save a little of that. It's kind of good power. But of all the, people involved, production, who are always looking to cut corners and save money, and you have the assistant AD who took a plea deal, and you have the armorer, Hannah, who's serving a sentence. You got Alec. Those are the major players in all of it. Have you forgiven everybody, or do you reserve a little for, F you for anyone?
I don't know. I mean, everything about this, there's that great line in No Country, so he's got some hard bark on him, has put some hard bark on me. Everything about it has. And so, and I just feel like, I was probably always going to be pretty salty as an old guy. And I feel like this just kind of like accelerated that, And so, God, if I'm lucky enough to make it to 80, 90, let's see how that goes, But
he's a miserable prick. This guy.
So, there are things that I've sort of come to understand are just words we come up with to make ourselves feel better. Closure, catharsis, forgiveness, things like that. There's value in them to some extent, I see, but to me, it's just about, I guess if you hate something or hate somebody, it doesn't affect them, it just ruins you. And so I try to sort of keep that in the front of my mind. And sometimes I fail that, and sometimes I get petty and flippant and things like that. But, and I don't always grant people the grace that I would hope they grant me. And it can be very hypocritical for me to say, well, you look at sort of the world reaction to everything that happened, and you understand that there maybe isn't as much grace in the world that there should be. But then if I don't, what kind of a hypocrite am I if I don't grant people grace? So
right.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, good.
I'm working on it.
I think you're going to stave off that miserable old man for longer than you think.
I'll take the old part.
Yeah.
The miserable part can go away.
Take a buyout at 85. If I make it to 85, it's a miracle. You met Alec on Crown Vic, right? They were going to do Crown Vic together. He ended up not acting in it, but was part of it, helpful to get it made. Mm-hmm. And you guys had a sort of a good relationship. It seemed. And then you talked about having a dinner in Santa Fe one time with you, Helena Hutchins, and Alec, and the three of you, and he was, being Alec and roaring, and Helena seemed to like him. Did she like him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you've ever had a meal with Alec Baldwin, but it's like,
I have been sucked into the vortex. He left my voicemail at one point in the Tony Bennett character from SNL.
And that's, there are times, I remember being at big dinners and other dinners and everything, and it's like you're on Dick Cavett in a way. I know that's sort of an old reference, but it's like he's holding court and doing Al Pacino impression and this and that, and it's and he's so incredibly smart and almost intimidatingly so, but and that was sort of one of those dinners.
And intense. He's intense. He's smart. He's funny, but he's very intense. And if I was a director, I would be like, oof, is this guy going to be a tempestuous, cantankerous pain in my ass?
Well, that just comes with the territory, right? And oftentimes those guys aren't. Sometimes it's about the material and how important is the material to them? Is this another paycheck movie, or is this something that deeply matters to them?
Right.
And I think, and so, but yeah, no, it was just this lovely dinner. It was like one of those things where sort of at the end of it, you remember that scene in every time I'd have dinner, one of those dinners with him, you remember that scene in Goodfellas when
Funny how?
When Henry gets married, what was Elaine Bracco's name in that movie? I can't remember anything this morning.
Oh.
But they get married, and they're dancing, and there's just all this. It's an enormous environment, and all these mobsters there, and Scorsese does this brilliant thing where he has a slow motion shot, kind of coming around, spinning around her, and she's kind of spinning around, and she looks like she's almost in this sort of daze. It's like that, It feels like that.
You said this guy rode in an elevator with Burt Lancaster. He escorted his Jackie O.
Are you kidding me?
I mean,
right? Yeah.
ABC always be closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would you work with him again?
Oh, I don't think it would ever really be a matter of that. I just think, how would that ever come up? For anyone,
The movie has every frame that Helena shot, or most every,
as much as
unless
I could possibly
it didn't
preserve.
make sense.
Yeah, as much as I could possibly preserve. Yeah.
So how important was it to you to have all of her work preserved?
Very. I mean,
and this movie's now about her to you. I saw that on the screen. All proceeds go to her son and husband, their family.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, no, I mean, and it was from, like I said, after everything happened, I didn't know that it was never on my radar that it was a possibility to come back and finish it. And there were times I thought I just didn't want to do this for a living anymore at all. And, then obviously everything sort of came to fruition that this is what the family wanted and this is what Matt wanted and it was going to benefit them. And then that made that decision actually very easy for me. And I knew, why I was going to do it. He wanted her work to be seen. I wanted her work to be seen. And so keeping that at the front of my mind, just the family and Helena made all the noise that went around it just very quiet for me. And it was very easy that if, someone was upset that we were doing it, I don't care because I know I am doing it. And if someone supported us that we were doing, well, great. And I thank you for that. But it's very clear to me why I'm here. And I kept that forever, through the whole time, and I still keep it. When we started back up, and we were going to Montana, and I brought Bianca in to step in.
The new cinematographer.
Yeah, Bianca Klein, to step in to finish, Helena's work. We, spent a lot of time watching all the original footage, and not only with Bianca, but with her camera team, and just studied everything. So in scenes where we said, okay, so with this scene, we had an actor who didn't come back, but we need to finish that scene. So how do we maximize still, even though it's a different actor, still maximize what we shot before and versus what we need to shoot now? And so some of that was a little, digital trickery, like head and face replacement things to keep the old shots. Some of that was, well, what we'll do here then, excuse me, is we have to do a new shot because there's no way we can keep the old one with this actor. So we're just going to recreate it exactly. Same everything, same exact camera orientation, same lens package, same lights, same everything. And so, people ask, well, how much of it was Helena versus how much it was Bianca? It's like, it was all Helena. Mm-hmm. And it's all Bianca. And you can't sort of remove her even from something that she wasn't there for because it was done in that exact method,
In a weird twist, isn't it? It didn't Bianca, they didn't know each other before, but Bianca's ended up spending 4 days in the Ukraine looking after Helena's mother.
Yeah, I mean, they knew of each other.
She's living in there. So
yeah, they knew of each other. They traveled in the same circles, but they had never crossed paths.
That's crazy.
And they had friends in common, good friends in common.
Now she's looking after Helena, finishing her project and looking after her mother in Ukraine.
I remember when
the war started.
When I think when the second trial ended, Bianca she was in, and then when that was going on, Bianca, who had not yet met Olga, Helena's mother, in person, and this just tells you everything you need to know about Bianca, that she went into the Ukraine and spent time with her in a war zone because she knew that that week Helena's mother would be hurting.
God almighty.
Can you imagine the kind of person and the kind of fortitude and the kind of just sort of absolute decency
That's just
of
living
somebody
with big purpose in your life. That's
But she's an amazing person. She's an amazing person.
clearly.
And when people ask me, what have I taken away? And you take it from the New Go Round, you take away a lot of things, but what I've taken away, the best thing I've taken away from it is Bianca Klein.
Right. And she said to you, I have to finish this.
Yeah,
I'm the person to do this.
She was one of my, the first time when I would meet cinematographers, originally she was one of the like 2 or 3 women I was choosing from. And so it was such a difficult choice the first time around. It was just so hard. And when they made some announcement that we were going to come back and finish it, she reached out to me and just said, I'm the one to do this. And it made sense to me very, very, very quickly that that was the case.
Joel, not only did I see the film last night, but more importantly, Helena Hutchins' mother, Olga, who lives in the Ukraine, saw it and put this out. She said it was a bit difficult for me to watch the film, but I watched it and I was so happy for the success of my daughter because it was shot so beautifully. I would want everybody to watch it because it was the dream of my daughter and she would want people to see it. I would want people to see the talent, the beauty, the success, and I'm just so immensely proud of her. She had a very specific style of cinematography and she saw the world differently. She could see and capture how the sun sets and how animals behaved, and she saw the beauty of it all. She could capture it. She could capture nature. I like the film. I want many people to watch it, and I would want more people to remember her for as long as they can. Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? How important is that for you to hear?
It's very emotional for me to hear. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about Olga and everyone in Helena's family. I just think about, what they've been through, having to lose their daughter, and then this horrendous war that was brought upon them, and the danger they have to live with every day. And just the kind of woman that Olga is, and how she can be so kind, and she's, amazing people create amazing people. And there's a reason, obviously, that Helena was who she was. It's because she came from a wonderful family. I'm very, very, very touched.
This does lots for her mom. Seeing the movie is going to do a lot for her. Other people seeing it and her knowing that they are seeing it and seeing her daughter's work. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing for a woman who's hearing bombs outside of her building.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think she was so incredibly supportive of Helena's work. And, I'm so happy that she got to see just how beautiful it was. And I'm so happy that she wants other folks to see it too. That's really quite amazing and quite generous.
So we are talking to Joel Souza here, the director of Rust, which is out in limited theaters now, and then it's going to be on demand, available on Amazon Prime and many places. Proceeds go to Helena Hutchins' family. And it's time to, we all heard about this movie, and I'm sure much to your chagrin and sadness, the news just eats it up and runs with the story, and it just goes wild. But look, it's a beautiful movie. I saw it last night. The filming is fantastic. It's gorgeous. The story is wonderful. This boy who, ironically enough, accidentally shoots someone when he's aiming for a coyote, and the whole thing ensues, and he's on the run and protected by his outlaw grandfather, Harlan Rust, played by Alec Baldwin. And I thought the young boy in the movie, he's got a huge role here. He was terrific.
Yeah, he took on a lot. You know, I think
my old friend Josh Hopkins is in there.
Hop is in there. Josh
US
is like
Marshal.
I had a couple of guys that are just in movies that are like my good luck charms, and Hopkins is one of them.
He's just a good dude.
Hopkins is good people, and he's a great actor, and a great run on Shrinking last season, and Devin Werkheiser's one of those guys too, and yeah, Patrick was.
Patrick is the boy.
Patrick Scott McDermott. Remember that name?
Patrick Scott McDermott. He stars right alongside Alec Baldwin. He is main. He's really the main focus of the film.
He is. I mean, from start to finish, it's Lucas's story, right? And you know, it's a lot for a kid to step into. Any movie, say you to any kid, you're just free of what happened. You say you're going to now star in your first movie. You're going to play your scenes mostly opposite Alec Baldwin.
You're going to go tete-a-tete in almost every scene with him.
And that's daunting. And it's not like a comedy. This is heavy stuff. And so now add to that the weight of what happened, which you never want to put on a kid.
No.
And you want to make sure that they don't feel that. And you want to make sure anytime you have kids on set, and I've been able to direct a lot of kids, and it's something I enjoy tremendously. And, but you want them to, you know, when my kids were younger, they all played soccer, and I coached all the time. And what I always had this thing is the winning or losing of it wasn't that important to me. What mattered was you learn sportsmanship and you want to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
And so I sort of feel that same way with young actors. Is I want to give you an experience where if this is what you choose to do with your life, you'll feel empowered and compelled to come back to it. And it also requires like just a really solid set of parents, which Patrick has. They're really great people. And I think they just really did a great job of helping him keep everything in perspective. It was, what I was pleased with on set was to see, you know, Patrick, there's a real lightness to him, as you hope with any kid.
Yeah.
And I never noticed or saw that things were weighing heavily on him. You know, I'm glad that I think he had a good experience with us.
Good. Yeah, good that his parents are. That's important.
I mean, look, when you cast, there's a thing when you cast young actors, you're casting the parents as much as you're casting the kids because, you know,
who's usually worse, the mom or the dad? And in this case, probably they're both great. But I'm saying just in general.
I don't. You know, it can be either.
Like dads are terrible at soccer games, but I could see stage moms, you know, they don't have stage dad as not really a phrase.
No, and unfortunately, but, you know, I've always been in a situation where we have sort of been able to, you know, when there's someone who's maybe a great actor and then, you know, you're like, and mom is kind of elbowing in through the door every 5 seconds, you're like, oh, this isn't going to work. And you just want to avoid that situation entirely. And so I've always been able to do that. We've had, you know, work with good casting directors and things like that. But, and, you know, with Patrick, it was, you know, parents were, you know, and I still communicate with them, and they're lovely people, and yeah.
Well, it was a triumph for him, so he'll always.
I'm so.
He'll always remember and thank you, for sure. Joel Souza, the director of Rust, and here on Hot Mics, and boy, is it a pleasure to have you. And I just think, you know, that day in Santa Fe, you sustained, 2 people got hit with the bullet, and we lost Helena Hutchins, but you got hit and you had to go to the hospital. Do you think about that moment? Are you healed? Do you remember the pain?
Well, I mean, the wound itself healed eventually. People tell you
they say it feels hot. It's just like a burning hot.
Yeah, some people will tell you it's like, oh, you don't feel it. You're in shock. It's like, so full of shit. You know, it's like, it's this weird thing where you go hot, numb, and in agonizing pain all at the same time. And it's very strange to describe it, but it's sort of like, for me, just half my body just kind of went like simultaneously numb and just like stuck with 10,000 needles all at the same time. It's hard to describe. I mean, even from Jump Street, a lot of things that happened in that moment just kind of left my head. There's things I always find that confounding. I'd be like, why can't I remember this? Or why can't I remember that? I was standing there, I was there. And that was very quick, soon after that.
Did you think you were going to die at any point? Or
God, I didn't know. You know, I remember asking, you know, our Sparky.
Your electrician?
Matt Hemmer, you know, kind of rolled in really quick. You know, he's a veteran, multiple tours, knew what was going on. You know, Cher came in, the medic. And so I remember sort of asking Matt, do I need to call my family here? Like, and he's like, I don't know. But, you know, I think, maybe not until I got to the hospital, till they sort of start to give you a little clearer picture of what's happening, that I sort of understand how that might turn out. It was just very, you know, I don't live in LA. I live up in the Bay Area, and pretty quiet life, pretty sort of regular blue collar suburban dad kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought I would. It's still sort of impossible. I have these moments every now and again where it's sort of like, I can't believe I got shot. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And
you know, by whom is even stranger.
And there are times you get reminded. It's like, you know, the healing of it that, you know, went and happened. I did the physical therapy and all that. And, you know, I like to say that it dashed my dreams of starting quarterback for the Niners. You know, being
if Brock Purdy can do it, and he's, you know, but only a tad taller than you.
I'll say being short and 51 clearly had nothing to do with that. That is what ended my dream of being the next Steve Young. But
you can direct that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, you know, no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes it just catches on fire, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you recall when you were told that your friend and colleague was lost?
Yeah, definitely. I will never forget it.
Was it confusion, anger, sadness?
Everything. It was devastation as much as anything, just devastation and disbelief. Yeah.
What do you think this movie, I mean, do you see, I see this movie as a beautiful sort of gift, her final work, and she did brilliantly. I think we need to tell people to go see this film.
No, you know, it's I think for people who maybe they're not artistic or don't have that inclination, or maybe don't have an appreciation for that, and that's fine. But this is what people devote their lives to. I mean, she devoted her life to this. She lived and breathed it. You know, I've never met anybody who loved it more than her, ever.
She was very, very good. I mean,
yeah,
the shots
she was,
from
you know,
the silhouette of the two horses at the top of the mountain to a babbling brook to these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shots. I love a Western, but I also I love that part of the country.
Yeah, no, she was just hyper talented and an even better person. And so you then have to say, okay, I know there's a lot of noise, and that's sort of inescapable, and that's the world we live in now, and I get that, and I'm not naive about any of that, about how we receive information, how we process it, how we regurgitate it, all that. And I understand all of that, but if we can just sort of quiet all of that down and just kind of look at this as, you know, there are a lot of people that came together to honor her and to finish what we all started together. And they put a lot on the line emotionally, personally, and professionally. And the idea, to sort of stave off the idea that her last work could vanish. And I mean, who am I to ever speak for anybody else? particularly someone that can no longer speak for themselves. But I feel confident that she would have done it for me.
Yeah.
Had gone the other way, which I wish to God it had. And I feel confident, like, who knew her better than Matt? And he knows that she would want, that she would have wanted her final work to be seen, and he wanted it to be seen. He wanted it to be seen not only so that people could learn more about her beyond what happened to her, and not just that her sort of friends and family could see her last work on screen, but just so that everyone could sort of get a look at the world the way she saw the world, which is a real gift that cinematographers give us. And it's something I never really thought about in that regard until this happened.
How old is her son?
He's a
Like 10?
preteen. Yeah, I don't want to get too much, but he's a like a young teenager. Yeah.
I hope he gets to see it, see how great his mom was.
Yeah, I want him, you want him to see it and to be proud of his mom's final work, and I know he would be, yeah.
Well, you should be proud too. I saw it last night and thought it was terrific.
I really
Just
appreciate
beautiful.
that.
Great story. And again, I just love a Western, but it's a great story, and you wrote it. So.
Yeah, Westerns are fascinating. I'm very, obviously I'm sort of have a curiosity about how people will react to it just as a film, really. And, the movie there was the movie we started out intending to make, the script and all that. And after everything that happened, we still had the movie to complete, and the story of the movie didn't functionally change.
Some scenes said that
the
church where the accident
that
was
erased and gone, and some scenes leading up to it. But the movie's still about what it's about. It's the same, intention. And I don't know if there's a sentiment out there that I guess I'm just curious about how it's taken as a film on its own. And if people can't, hey, that's fine too. How can you separate those things? But I think, it's the story we always intended to tell. Or if you're curious,
go either way, see the movie. Like to see how it all came together, see how people pulled themselves together. This is life. Terrible things happen to everyone. No one goes unscathed. How do you pull yourself out of it?
Yeah.
How do you keep going on? Well, that's exactly what this movie is. It begins, something terrible happens in the middle, and then they move to Montana, and they finish it, and they keep going on. It's a perfect metaphor for what everyone will go through in their life.
Yeah, and you can do it knowing that you watch it and that benefits the family. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
That
I care.
You dial it up and that benefits them. That's a very sort of direct way to sort of be a part of something good.
Right.
We
have been talking to Joel Souza, who is the director of Rust. It's in theaters, limited theaters, maybe one near you. It was one near me, so I saw it. And then you get to watch it on Prime, Amazon, and I think it's iTunes, and we'll be all
everywhere
over
you
the
can
place.
get it. Hell, we'll be on VHS before the week is out.
Yeah. Hey.
It's one of those things. I hope people can go see it in theaters. Because it's a Western. It looks beautiful on a big screen. But I hope people go see every movie in theaters. I hope, the business is in a little bit of a state of flux right now, and I think the theatrical experience is as important and vital as ever. I think, there's a lot of great stuff coming this summer. I've got my tickets already for Mission Impossible. A really good friend of mine, an old friend of mine, Len, directed Ballerina, and I've gotten to see
Len Wiseman? Len who?
Len Wiseman. We grew up together.
Oh, I know Len very well.
Yeah, we grew up in the same cul-de-sac.
So when he married Kate Beckinsale, did you say, wow, how did you pull that off, Len? I went to school with you.
No, Len is a handsome devil. And
he sure is.
And he's a great dude. But I've gotten to see some pieces of that movie, and it's fucking amazing.
Really?
And it's gonna blow people away. It's gonna be like the fucking movie this summer. I can't wait for people to see it. I'm so proud of him. But see everything in the theater. See everything in the theater first.
Yeah.
Everything.
Keeps you out of trouble.
I can't wait. I haven't got to see Sinners yet. Can't wait to see it when I get home.
My daughter saw it twice. Clarksdale, Mississippi is where the town takes place in that movie.
Nice.
And that's where my first wife, with whom I'm still very good friends, ex-wife and mother of my kids, from Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Wow.
Home of the blues, very small little
Yeah.
town, but and Mission Impossible. And
Can't wait,
I want to
yeah.
see Thunderbolts. I'll see all this crazy
so much
stuff.
great stuff. I mean, this summer, we didn't have a lot in the pipeline last year, but man, it's coming this year. There's some great stuff out there.
Folks, get to see Rust immediately. See how they finish this. See how they put it together. It's fantastic. Joel Souza, director, thank you so much for taking time and talking to me and sharing thoughts and feelings and your work.
Happy to. Thanks very much, Billy. And I
You have a
appreciate
great
the kind
voice, by the
words.
way.
Oh, thank you.
You have
Thank
a very easy voice. It's like an editor would feel good about that.
My voice is not as deep as it used to be, but my 16-year-old's voice is now deeper than mine.
It's crisp. It has a crisp base to it. I want to say that.
Thank you.
Joel Souza and Rust on Hot Mics. What a pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Well, what a day, huh? We've done it all. We've covered everything. That's it for us. Thank you for listening to Hot Mics today on TuneIn, if that's what you did, or on YouTube, if you get a chance to follow us. That'd be great. We'd like your subscription. And we will be back on Wednesday with a fresh new episode. Thanks, as always, to our sponsor, LA Golf, and our landlord, Fred Trump, Howie Mandel, for having us here at his fine facility. See you Wednesday. Bye-bye.